Tonight, the topic of the talk is the Mangala Sutta. Probably some of you would know that the Mangala Sutta is said to be the most popular of all the Pali chants. It is the most popular because it is in a way you could say it's better than striking a lottery. It is teaching us how to be wealthy. But this wealth we get is inside of us. So it is not obvious. And unlike a lottery where you strike and immediately you can see the money, this wealth we get from the Mangala Sutta, we carry with us to our next few lifetimes. So because of that, it is very popular. And not only humans are interested in this kind of wealth. Here it is called blessings. Blessings or merit. Punya is the Pali word. But this we sometimes can see the benefit even in this lifetime. And probably some of you have heard this chant before. It starts off, if I chant the Pali, goes like this. Evame sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatiyang viharati jetavane anatapindika saarame atako anyatara devata abhikanta yaratiya abhikantavana kevalakapang jetavana obasetava, etc. So these blessings, and not only human beings are interested in it, but devas are also interested in it. Heavenly beings, celestial beings. And this sutta was spoken by the Buddha at the request of a deva. Because devas, they know more things than we human beings know. So this deva knew that the Buddha, the enlightened one, is here on the earth, and he took the opportunity to get advice from the Buddha how to get the highest blessings so that he will reap this reward this life and in the future lives. So that is why this chant is very popular. You can also say it's very auspicious. So whenever we do some auspicious, we have some auspicious occasion where you invite monks to the house because you want to get blessings and all that. Or sometimes you have some event, somebody's birthday or something in the house where everybody is happy and you want to get a lot of blessings. So this is one of the chants that the monks will do. Now, I will read the English translation of this chant and then try to explain the terms. Thus have I heard. That's the equivalent of Evame Sutang. In Chinese is Ru Shi Wo Wen. At one time, the Exalted One, the Bhagava, was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's grove at Anathapindika's path. I stop here for a moment to explain some of the terms. Most of our suttas, in fact all of our suttas, are supposed to start with these words, thus have I heard. And then here the Exalted One is a translation for the word Bhagava. the Buddha had 10, you could say 10 epithets, 10 names. The Bhagava is one of them, and the Bhagava is the one probably used most by people in addressing the Buddha. Here is translated as the Exalted One. Elsewhere it could be translated as the Blessed One. And in Chinese is Se Chun. Was staying near Savatthi. Savatthi is a place where the Buddhas used to go quite frequently. He spent most of his vasas, reign periods at Savatthi. In Jeta's grove, not this Jetavane. This Jeta was a prince, and he owned this grove, this kind of forest area. And this man called Anathapindika bought this grove from this Prince Jeta. So that's why it's called Jeta's grove. And it's also called Anathapindika's park or monastery. Here the word is Arame or Arama is a word for monastery. And there are a few ways of calling a monastery. Arama is one, Vihara is another one, Avasa is another one. This word Avasa, the Thais have shortened it to Avasa, can also be said to be Awasa, and they shorten it to Awat, and then later they call it Wat. This man, Anathapindika, he was a very generous person, a philanthropist, and he used to build this orphanage. That's why he was given the name Anathapindika, one who helps the orphans. Actually, his real name was a bit different, but people used to call him Anathapindika. So at one time, the Exalted One was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's grove at Anathapindika's park. Is this microphone working? Can you all hear me? Then a certain Devata or Deva, heavenly being, in the night's last extreme, whose extreme brilliance lighted up the whole of Jeta's grove, approached the Exalted One. Having approached the Exalted One and revered him, he stood to one side. I just stop here for a moment. So this Deva, sometimes these Devas used to come to see the Buddha in the night. Because in the night, normally human beings won't be coming to see the Buddha. Most people will be sleeping at night. So the Devas would come at night when nobody was around, and it's you are able to speak to the Buddha personally. So sometimes, like some of the women arahants, arahant nuns, some of them like Upalavana, the nun with the greatest psychic power, she also would come and see the Buddha at night because nobody's around, the Buddha is free. So, like this Upalavana, because she had great psychic power, she would fly in the air, and then come to see the Buddha. So in the same way, these Devas also flew and came to see the Buddha. So when they came, their brilliance, their light would illuminate the whole of the monastery. But this light that illuminated the whole monastery, maybe only those who had psychic power could see. Then, having approached the Exalted One and revered him, he stood to one side. You see, these Devas, after they pay respect to the Buddha and they want to speak to the Buddha, they stand to one side and then they speak to the Buddha. This is their way of showing respect. Just like I heard, it seems like this was told, like some of these Western monks in England. When the Sri Lankans come to see the monk is sitting down. Then the Sri Lankans would come pay respect to the monk, then they stand and talk to the monk. And then the Thais would come, pay respect, and then they sit down lower than the monk and talk to the monk. So it's a different, they have different convention. To the Sri Lankan, when you sit down, it's not respectful. You have to be standing to be respectful. But to the Thais, standing up so high is not respectful. You have to sit lower than the monk. So it's all different convention. So this, for the Deva, they think standing is more respectful. Standing there to one side, that Devata addressed the Exalted One in verses. Many Devas and men have pondered on blessings, longing for safety. Tell them the highest blessing. So here, I stop here for a moment to comment. So here this Deva is saying that many heavenly beings and human beings have wondered how to get blessings because they long for safety. So he asked the Buddha to tell how to get the highest blessing. The highest blessing here is Mangala Muttamang. Consists of two words, Mangala and Uttamang. Uttama, we know the Malay word Uttama is the first. So here it means also the supreme, the highest. So Mangala Muttamang, the highest blessing. Here onwards, you'll be listening to the Buddha's advice. The first advice the Buddha said, Asevana cha balanang. Asevana is not to associate. Sevana is to associate. Not to associate with bala. Bala is fools. Not to associate with fools. With the wise to associate. And to honor the honorable or those worthy of honor. This is the highest blessing. This is the first 4 verses. The Buddha speak 4 verses each time. So the first advice he said is not to associate with fools. The Buddha did say in a few other suttas that our friends are very important. The type of people we associate with, the type of people we mix with. The Buddha said birds of the same feather flock together. He didn't say exactly like this English saying, but his meaning was this, birds of the same feather flock together. So if we mix with evil people, we will also acquire evil habits and we will walk their way. If you mix with wise people, then you will also get some wisdom and you walk the way of the wise. So who are fools and who are wise people? In the Dhamma, fools are those who do not understand the Dhamma. Because they do not understand the Dhamma, they do not practice the Dhamma. And if they do not practice the Dhamma, that means they are walking the way that will bring them to a bad rebirth, to a rebirth in one of the 3 woeful planes. The Buddha said that when we die, we can be reborn in 5 possible places. The best is heaven, and there are many levels of heaven. And then below that is the human realm. We can be reborn in the human realm, that's the second. And then after that, 3 are the woeful planes below the human realm. What are these 3 places? Slightly worse than the human realm is the ghost realm. The ghost realm is a realm where people without sufficient blessings, with very little blessings, they are reborn there because they don't have enough, have not done enough good deeds. But worse than the ghost realm is the animal realm. Animal realm are those people, you see animal behavior is firstly the temper is very bad. People whose temper is they are very fierce people, gangsters and all that, who like to fight. They get reborn as dogs and monkeys and all that, where they fight again. The second characteristic of an animal is lust, where the lust, sensual desire is very strong. So people with this type of characteristics, who are violent and who have great lust or sensual desire, they fall into the animal realm. And then worse than the animal realm is the hell realm. those are for those beings who do very great evil, who harm a lot of people. Not necessarily a lot of people. Even if you harm one person to a very great extent, you can also be reborn in hell. So these are the 5 planes of rebirth. Later books talk about 6 realms of rebirth. In Chinese they say Liu Tao Lun Hui, isn't it? But actually it's Wu Tao. 5. In the earliest suttas of the Buddha, it's only 5. Later they added the Asura. The Asuras are actually heavenly beings. This is very definite from the Digha Nikaya, because in the Digha Nikaya there's one sutta where the Buddha said the lowest kind of Asuras are the Kalakanja Asuras. That's in one sutta. And in another sutta of the Digha Nikaya, the Buddha said one day a lot of devas came to visit him, and then he was telling his monks, look at this deva, so powerful, look at that deva. And then he mentioned the Kalakanja Asuras also. So you see that the Kalakanja Asuras are devas. Therefore, since they are the lowest of the Asuras, and therefore all Asuras are devas. So, not to associate with fools. Fools who do not, are those people who do not know the Dhamma, and they do not practice the Dhamma. So when they do not practice the Dhamma, they do a lot of evil deeds. And what are the evil deeds that we can possibly do? The Buddha mentioned that there are 10 types of evil deeds that we can possibly do. And these 10 deeds are divided into bodily deeds, verbal deeds, and mental deeds or karma. So the body karma that we can do and which is evil, the first one is to kill other living beings. For example, some people who like to go hunting for just to have some fun, they are willing to take other beings' lives. So when they take other beings' lives, sometimes not only that being itself suffers, sometimes other members of that family also suffer. For example, if a person goes hunting and then he sees a fat wild boar, and then he shoots the fat wild boar, kills the wild boar. But that wild boar may be suckling 10 piglets. There may be 10 babies, baby pigs, waiting for the mother to come and feed them. And then you kill that one wild boar, and then the 10 babies will starve to death. So in fact, you are killing 11 pigs. So the same with even human beings. Sometimes you kill a man, then the families, the wife and the children suffer. So the first evil deed we can do is killing. The second evil deed we can do with the body is stealing. Because we use our hand to steal something. That's a bodily karma. Buddha taught us that we should keep this precept, not to take what does not belong to us. What is not given to us, what is not given to us, we should not take. So the third bodily evil that we can do is sexual misconduct. That means a person already has a husband or a wife, then that person fools around with another man or another woman. That is adultery, sexual misconduct. And maybe I should mention the consequence of each one of these. If we frequently kill, we shorten the lives of other beings. The natural consequence is that we will have short life, either this life itself or the next few lifetimes. And the second one, when we steal, and then also the retribution is that we get stolen. Sometimes a person may employ a few workers, and then the workers tend to steal from the boss. That's because the boss formerly used to also steal. And then the vipaka, the karma vipaka, the yanko, the result of adultery is that you will be hated. you will be hated and everybody will dislike you. And also because if you break up, because of committing adultery, you break up other people's family, then in future also possibly when in a future lifetime when you have a family, your family also might be caused to break up. But that's adultery. So these are the 3 body karmas, evil karmas that we can do. And how about the verbal karma? Verbal karma, there are 4 types of verbal karma the Buddha warns us to avoid. The first one is lying. Lying. If we lie and even to the extent of cheating people, then next time also people will lie about us and cheat us. The second one is to carry tales and cause people to quarrel. For example, you hear A talking bad about B. After hearing from A, you go to B and you tell B, A said such and such a thing about you. And then B will get very angry and will go and quarrel with A. So you cause disharmony, cause people to quarrel. That is the second type of evil verbal karma. If you do that, the natural consequence is in the future, people will do the same thing to you. Then number 3, the third evil verbal karma is to use coarse or harsh speech. Like some people have a filthy mouth. Every time they open the mouth, they speak 4-letter words and all these things. And they talk very rough. So if you do that, people will have no respect for you. So in a future lifetime also, people will have no respect for you, and maybe people also will say the same things to you. That is the third evil verbal karma. The fourth evil verbal karma is idle talk, idle gossip. Sometimes we gossip too much, and we cause problems for people. So then another thing is when we gossip too much, we are wasting our time. Life is quite short, especially human life is very short. And we have to remember that a lot of our time is spent on necessary things like working, sleeping, eating, and then the actual spare time we have left is very little. In one day, suppose you want to use that spare time to, for example, meditate or learn the Dhamma, you find you don't have very much spare time. For most people, say somebody who's working, maybe at the most you have 1 or 2 hours a day. So if you go and talk too much, then you'll be wasting a lot of your precious time, especially if you talk a lot of unnecessary gossip. And so that is the fourth type of unskillful verbal karma that we could indulge in. So these are the 4 verbal karmas, evil verbal karmas we have to avoid. First one is lying. Second one is carrying tales to cause people to quarrel. Third one is harsh speech or coarse speech. The fourth one is idle gossip. Now, mental karma, there are 3 types of evil mental karma that we have to avoid. The first one is excessive greed, covetousness, wanting other people's things, to the extent of maybe even wanting other people's husband or other people's wife and all that. That is covetousness. Then the second evil mental karma is excessive anger or hatred. You have too much ill will or hatred. That is also very bad. Some people they seems like they have a lot of anger, always having a temper, breaking into a tantrum. So that also we want to avoid. That's the second type of evil mental karma. The third one is wrong view, having wrong view. And in this case, what is this wrong view? This wrong view is worldly wrong view. That means not believing in karma, and not believing that doing good will benefit you either this life or a future lifetime, and not believing that doing evil will bring you evil consequences. So there are some people like that, because they don't believe in karma, so they don't like to believe in a future rebirth. They think, oh, after I pass away, no more, nothing left. Don't talk about the next life. There's no next life. Why? Because that person is scared that if there is such a thing, that person will be reborn in a woeful plane of rebirth. So that is the three mental evil karmas. First one is excessive greed or covetousness. The second one, hatred, strong anger or ill will. The third one is wrong view, not believing in karma, yan ko, karma vipaka, karma, intentional action and its result. And then with the wise to consort. So who are the wise? The wise is the converse of the foolish. That is, wise people are those who believe in karma, who understand the Dhamma, who are practicing the way to lead them to a good rebirth. That means either rebirth in heaven, or if not, at least the human realm, and not going to the woeful plains. So if you associate with the wise, then you will learn the Dhamma from the wise people, and then you will learn to practice the Dhamma, and you will not regret it in the end. Life actually, the Buddha said, life is suffering, dukkha. Actually, dukkha and sukha is just two sides of a coin. It's just like black and white. If you have white, you must have black. If you have black, you must have white. They come together, they come in a pair. Good and bad. So, suffering and happiness. So you see people like fools, they want to have happiness, and the greed for happiness is so strong that they forget about all other things, and they just want to enjoy themselves, even to the extent of harming other people. They dare to do because their ego, they are self-centered. They want to benefit themselves only. So in the end, they have to suffer. So they enjoy first, and then they suffer in the end. Whereas people who practice the Dhamma, they are willing to forego some of the happiness and even take on a bit of suffering initially, because the end result is happiness, right? People like monks, we are willing to forego some of our worldly happiness, and in a way suffer a bit more material-wise compared with worldly people, because we know in the end we will have more happiness than worldly people. So you have to choose whether you want happiness first or you want happiness in the end. And then number 3, to honor those worthy of honor. Those worthy of honor are those people like your parents, your elders, monks and nuns, teachers, etc. These are said to be those worthy of honor. Now, so if we honor those worthy of honor, next time when this karma ripens, people will also honor us. For example, you see, in this world, people are all born differently. There are some people born in a very low family where people look down on them. That's probably because in the previous life, they look down on others. They are not respectful of those worthy of respect. So they have to learn this lesson. So that's why they are reborn in a low station of life where people look down on them. Whereas other people who are very respectful of those worthy of respect and all that, they may be reborn to be somebody like Princess Elizabeth, now Queen Elizabeth, and the royal family where people are very respectful towards them. They have a very good rebirth. That's probably because they are worthy of that kind of honor.